All right, welcome back to the podcast. Today I have Clifford Blanquicet, I believe is how you spell or say the last name, Jr. And Cliff is an owner or president of Blank Real Estate, as well as Biz Exchange Network. And he'll elaborate a little bit more on what that actually means. So, Cliff, welcome.
Hey, thank you for having me. It's an honor.
So usually with these kind of interviews, I ask the interviewee to kind of define their life at this moment. Like who are you today? What are you doing today? What's your life like today?
Yeah. Well, this exact moment, I'm a guy who has a tick bite on his leg, at this very moment. But no, and I'm a family man, man of God. I've got five wonderful children, 4 girls, 1 boy. I am married to the most wonderful woman on earth and entrepreneur herself. I'm only an entrepreneur because of her. Okay. And she was one way before we ever met. And so she's an inspiration, and I just love living this life with her. So I am 34 years old, and been living in the Charlotte area for the last 14 years. In fact, I graduated from Wingate University just down the road, maybe 10 miles from us here, back in December 2012, and then started my career, my first career in Charlotte. But no, me as a person, entrepreneur, investor, love startups, love helping people, love trying to find bigger meanings of life and fulfillment. I love being a great husband and father. Those things are what give me fulfillment in this world. And so that's who I am today, just trying to chase, making sure that my legacy is left in a way that they say that was a good man and a good husband and father, and more so than, he's filthy rich, even though I'm not. But no, I want to be known for that. So thank you for asking.
So you're, like you mentioned, an investor, entrepreneur, and so on. What was your path like to get to this? But if you could start like way back, what was where did you grow up? And what was your life like in the beginning or earlier on?
Yeah, so it all started, on a beautiful sunny day in August. August 3rd, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
It all started for me. I was born in Pinehurst. I grew up in Sanford, North Carolina, which is 2 hours east of here. And I had a tough childhood, very tough childhood. My dad left when I was 3. I haven't seen him since, literally not once. And I moved out of my own house when I was 10 years old.
Wow.
And to go live with my grandparents because the situation I was in my household was awful. Drugs, alcohol, abuse, you name it. And just realized at 10 years old that is not something I wanted to be around. And so luckily my grandparents took me in and raised me until I went to college right before I turned 18. And they saved my life, and it was just the best thing ever. So on the personal side, I started playing golf when I was 10.
Okay.
And that was my saving grace. Like, I had a lot of anxiety and didn't know at the time, but PTSD from my childhood and even at an early age. And golf really saved my life. And so I started playing in hitting balls. I bought my first set of golf clubs at a yard sale down the street for $8. I started chipping around the yard and then putting in the house and hitting in the woods, and then secretly putting my golf clubs on my back and riding my bike 2 miles down the road to a driving range, stealing money out of my grandparents' wallet and just hitting balls and coming back. I mean, just was obsessed with it. And that led to a college scholarship, fantastic Division II career. And then I actually turned professional in golf in 2013. I played the PGA Tour and Web.com qualifiers. I played the mini tours, and then also got status on the PGA Tour Latino America in Central and South America. Mm-hmm. And so fantastic learning a stint. I had to raise money because I was broke. I had to promise investors, a return, but based on good play. I had to manage money. I had to travel. I had to book hotels. I had to sign up for tournaments. I had to work out. I had to eat right. I had to practice. I had to train. It was just fantastic for setting me up for entrepreneurship and being an investor. And so, yeah, I accredit a lot of work ethic and just passion to golf. And then right whenever I ran out of my investors' money and they didn't want to reinvest because I only made them a little bit of money that first year, I got into commercial real estate, property management, leasing agent, janitor, handyman, roofer. I was the eviction guy. I mean, I did it all. And great experience, about 6 months. And one of the tenants in one of the buildings I was managing, he was a commercial real estate broker. And he said, man, if you work this hard at commercial real estate brokerage, you'll make a killing. And so I went and got my real estate license. And the same week I got my license, I met my wife. So I know that's a real big fast forward. But to backtrack a little bit, I grew up in Section 8 housing. I grew up in mobile homes that had nothing but roaches. I've been in tough situations, and it taught me several things. That be the cockroach, but don't get killed. Be resilient. Treat people like you want to be treated. Treat women right. If you're a man, if you're a woman, treat men right, and show your kids the respect they deserve and protect them the way they deserve, because they're very special people. So I know a lot of people like my brother who had very similar childhood as me who went the other way, and drugs, alcohol, beating women, etc. And I chose not to do that. And I feel like I'm a winner in life because I didn't do that.
So even back when you were younger, what was your personality like? Were you outgoing? Were you kind of more reserved? What were you like through the middle school and high school years?
Yeah, until I moved out of my mom's house, I didn't talk. I mean, I was not a big talker at all. I really kept to myself, super shy. I thought, girls were like the scariest thing on earth. I played sports in the neighborhood, but no organized sports. And so I just had nothing really to build confidence on at all. And the kids I was playing sports with in the neighborhood were all 5 years older than me, so they just demolished me at every sport possible. Tackle football, they used to like clothesline me. I mean, I just couldn't win at anything. And then I move out of my mom's house, and I get in the golf, and a lot of people would say that I was a natural. And I was very good at very quickly a young age. And then I started gaining that confidence. And so I started going to golf tournaments, and I tried out for the middle school golf team, and things like that. And the confidence was just building and building and building because I felt safe, and I was actually good at something. I was winning trophies, and I was winning tournaments, and I was gambling at a very young age and winning money because I had to eat. All that built confidence, a lot of confidence. And I that bled into also like wanting to date. And I thought I was terrified of girls and like the thought of like asking a girl on a date. And because of golf, I gained confidence. I started asking girls on dates and had that young dating life experience that kids should have. And so that was really cool. And high school, I was just super confident, talkative. I also, at the same time, I was playing high school golf and tournament golf. I got my first part-time job as the cart boy and range picker at a local municipal golf course the day I turned 15. The day I turned 15. And then a year later, worked at a golf shop in Pinehurst where I was running the floor and counting, responsible for the cash register and all those things just pieced together. Along with that, on weekends, when I had the chance, or every other weekend, I would mow grass. So I went out and bought a trailer. I used my grandparents' mower and weed eater, and I pulled that thing around and cut grass. So that was like my start to like entrepreneurship, but I didn't think of it that way. I just thought, wow, my grandparents will let me use this. Here's a chance to make some money.
Yeah.
So getting my first job and succeeding, and then second job succeeding, and then the landscaping and succeeding winning golf tournaments, being, MVP on my golf team, all of that just led to confidence. So I really blossomed from a young guy who was really scared of the world and into someone who, by the time I graduated, was speaking confidently, walking confidently, and very pleased with where I was in life for all those accomplishments.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned dating kind of at a younger age, and you said you have 5 children. How old are they? Are they in the dating age yet or no?
Well, not yet. My oldest is 8.
Okay.
So my children are 8, 7, 6, 4, and 2.
Okay.
So they're young.
Younger.
Now, my 2 oldest daughters, though, they think boys are cute. And, boys flirt with them, and they say they had a crush on them, and I can't stand it. I can't.
So when would you say is the appropriate age to start dating?
I want to say 20 because I'm a father. But I know realistically that, when you turn teenager, you probably are thinking about going to the movies and your parents dropping you off and going on a date and maybe 13, 14 holding hands. I mean, that's pretty realistic to me, unfortunately.
And what does dating mean at that age?
Yeah, I think it's, hopefully not texting 40 other guys and girls at the same time, probably holding hands and going to the movies. I mean, I'd say that might be the best. Hopefully it's nothing more than that. That would really make me upset as a father. But I think that's probably I'm being realistic, that's probably the age that it gets really interesting I know for me it did, turning 13, that's when I started going to the movies and started going, after school, walking around the soccer field and talking and holding hands and stuff. Like, I think that's when it started for me, and hopefully that's normal.
Do you, did girls kind of become what you focused on, or were you able to still kind of manage, like, okay, you're focusing on golf, you're focusing on, doing mowing lawns, whatever else, and then it just so happened that you're dating too?
Man, that's a great question, because part of a debate, like I went to play Division II golf instead of Division I, and that's because my sophomore and junior year, my game went downhill. And it just so happens that I had a long-term girlfriend, and it was not a healthy relationship.
No.
And so I'm not totally blaming her, but she definitely wanted a lot of my time. Mm-hmm. And she definitely wanted me not to do certain things or never go play in the British Amateur, in Europe, because I'm going to a different country. There were certainly some things that I sacrificed for that relationship, thinking I was in love and maybe one day would marry this girl, like teenage sweethearts. Mm-hmm. And boy, yeah, it hurt me a little bit, but I wouldn't trade that life experience for anything. A long relationship in high school does make you grow up a little bit, does make you understand what loyalty is and commitment, how to treat people right, or they're going to leave, because when you're in high school, you're very fickle. Everyone is. Yeah. And so great experience, but it did hurt my golf game a little bit, for sure. Cause I'm trying to practice, I'm working this job, I'm doing lawn. And then every other waking minute, instead of working out or training or putting more reps in on the golf course, I'm trying to get to her.
Yeah.
So good and bad, but it did hurt the golf game, I think.
And the reason why I'm asking is because I have a 15-year-old son, and he's
here we go.
He's there right now, basically at that stage, and just wanted to kind of have some insight from somebody else in terms of advice for his age. So like I've been telling him that having a girlfriend takes up a lot of your time, and you focus more on her than other things, and to kind of watch out for them. And he's being a teenager, like, where he's like, yeah, I can manage, I can do this and do good in school and this and that and whatever, but
you can't, but you need the life experience.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Yeah. And like, if we're and listen, my oldest is 8, so I'm not speaking from experience, but I'm speaking from on the other side. If someone tells you no and you're a teenager, you're going to do it. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And so it's a hard thing to balance. My grandmother used to say, all right, you're not going to talk on the phone after 10. I'm like, dude, I was always on the phone after 10, and I need you home at this time. And I'm like, it's going to be 30 minutes later. Like, you tell me not to, and you're a teenage boy with any testosterone and ego at all, it's going to be a tough ride. So that's a tough thing. I don't envy you right now, but I know I'm right behind you.
Yeah, so it's definitely, yeah, definitely something I'm going through. I mean, and I have a great relationship with him, so we talk,
Good.
we talk about different things and so on. So it's not like bad. It's just I'm trying to give him the best advice I can give, kind of from my own experience, from what I see out there, and things like that. So
My best advice is, if he doesn't find out on his own, then that's worse than you telling him. And that's hard because I'm impatient. I'm like, that's a loser. I know that's a loser. What are you doing? But that usually drives people closer. Or you're throwing away your your golf career. It's like, what does he know? He was never a pro golfer.
right.
So that's a tough one to handle. But I'd say that we all have to learn lessons at pretty early ages to become who we are. And so hopefully, you definitely. I know you're guiding them in the right way, but also, give them a little room to make mistakes. I'm sure you are, but that'd be my advice.
Yeah. So going back to you and kind of your high school, it sounds like you were really good in golf during high school. What was your decision like, and who helped you decide like to go to college versus to go to other things, like go to work right away, like some trade, or go to military, or whatever other options were available?
Yeah, thank you. The biggest thing is that from the time I was 10 until 23, no one could have convinced me differently that I was going to be a professional golfer.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. I didn't want to be a fireman. I didn't want to be a police officer. I didn't want to be an investor. I didn't even think about real estate. I was going to be a professional golfer, and the path was clear.
Mm-hmm.
High school, college, turn pro. So, I mean, I was just dead set. Like, it wasn't like, oh, maybe you should take a year off and work, or maybe go do some trade school. Like, I mean, no one said anything to me because they're like, yeah, he's going to go to college and play golf.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just my determination knowing that was the path to pro golf.
So was it based on just your understanding of what that process was to turn pro? Like you have to go to college in order before you can turn pro, or what was it like?
You don't have to go to college to turn pro. The thing was that there are very few golfers on planet Earth that have ever turned pro at the age of 18 and done well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, even Tiger Woods went to Stanford for 4 years, right? Very few golfers come right out of high school, turn pro, and are successful. The ones who do that typically have very wealthy parents, or a lot of investment backing, for many, many years.
Mm-hmm.
And so, no, it was just obvious to me that I didn't have those things. And so college was the next step to have better coaching, have a better gym to work out, a better regimen, more teammates that were higher caliber, pushing each other every day, practicing together, playing in tournaments against the best college golfers in the country, which eventually some of them do turn pro and end up winning PGA Tour events. So it was just the only path that made sense for me.
Mm-hmm. So what was that like to turn pro? Like, what was the process like?
Yeah, and so to turn professional at golf, anyone can actually show up at a professional golf event and say, I'm a pro, and you're a pro golfer. But that doesn't mean you're going to make a check. And that doesn't mean you're going to get an official world golf ranking, or that you're going to actually qualify to be in anything above just tournaments you pay to enter.
Mm-hmm.
So when you do declare pro, you do lose your amateur status with the United States Golf Association, USGA. And so I basically, I had one more extra semester of college, actually 3. It took me 5.5 years to get a bachelor's degree, mostly because I transferred a couple of times, but mostly also because, C's get degrees in my book. Maybe don't tell everyone that. But that last semester was a fall semester, and I had like 2 classes left. So I actually turned pro that semester because I wasn't playing for the team anymore. I had my eligibility was up the 4 years. And I went and played in the Monday qualifier for the Chiquita Classic at Rocky River Golf Club in Concord. And even though I didn't make it, I missed it by 2 or 3 shots, I still declared myself pro. Mm-hmm. And then you really don't solidify yourself as a professional golfer until you make your first check. And I made my first check in January. I went down to Myrtle Beach, played in a mini tour event at Caledonia in True Blue, and came in like third or fourth and made a check for like $1,000. And that's when I officially was a professional golfer, because I had accepted cash over $750 for playing golf. And so now to be on the PGA Tour, to be on the web.com tour, PGA Tour Latino America, you have to go to qualifying school or Monday qualify. And I Monday qualified for the Puerto Rico Open and did well. And that's how I got my status on the Latino Tour. And so it's easy to turn pro. It's hard to actually become a legitimate pro, because you have to shoot some amazing scores to get a check. And then it's very difficult to get on any tours that, frankly, matter, because you have to qualify.
And you mentioned you played in the PGA Tour, right?
The Latino Tour. Yep. The PGA Tour Latino America, and which now has a different name, and at the time was PGA Tour Canada. Okay. They were feeder tours up to web.com.
Okay.
Web.com tour was right below the PGA Tour. The PGA Tour was, the big thing. Tiger Woods, or, Ernie Els, etc. And so I was on, if say there's PGA Tour web.com, I was on the third level, PGA Tour Latino America. I missed a couple of cuts, lost my status, and that was that.
Did you just give up on it at that point, or what?
I went at that point. The year had been over. I went back to my investors, who invested almost $30,000 in me. While I raised that money while I was in college, and went to them and said, "Hey, I made a little over $30,000. Here's a little return, blah blah blah. And do you want to re-up?" And only one of them said yes for like $5,000. And I just done it. $30,000 was like the least I could do, and actually make a run at it. And so I kind of said, I'm done. And I was dating a girl at the time that was not my wife now. And I told her that I was hanging it up. And the next day, her grandmother called me and said, "Hey, tough luck. I got more money than God, but I'm not going to invest in you, but I need you to work." And so the next day I went and worked for her.
Okay.
That's kind of how it ended. Anticlimactic. Yeah. I actually, 2 years later, after I was married, had my first kid, I randomly signed up for a mini tour event here in Charlotte at Raintree, and I won it.
Okay.
And I held up a check, and it wasn't much or anything. But my kids and my wife all think it's hilarious that I basically took 2 years off, and then I went out and won a tournament. I don't think I could do that today, but 7-8 years ago, I still had a little bit of that feeling that I could go low or shoot a good number. And now it's very rare. So,
do you still play today?
I do. I got my amateur status back about 4 years ago, when I actually started caring a little bit about golf again, and competing. And every year I'll do a U.S. amateur qualifier, U.S. Open qualifier. I'll play in one or two other amateur events. I'll play in like the member guest at my club, try to play in some competitive things. But I mean, I do really well in the member guest stuff, like really well. Then I go play against Division I college golfers and the best junior golfers in the world, and other pros, and I don't do as well.
What's your do you actually like have a handicap, or is it?
Yeah, I'm always at like 0 + 1 + 2.
Okay.
Something like that. So like in golf, if you're a 2 handicap, you probably shoot around 73, 74. If you're a 0, around 72 or so. If you're a plus, that means you're going the opposite way. You're shooting under par typically.
Okay.
So if you're a +1 or +2, you typically shoot 69, 70, 71. And so right now I'm like right at 0. And that's because I've played one round of golf in the past 5 months, because I've just been grinding on Biz Exchange. I've been being the best husband I can be, best father, and just not playing as much. But now I've got tons of golf lined up for the next 3 months. And so I kind of, went into hibernation. Now I'm coming out.
Okay. For those that are younger and may like they want to be on the PGA Tour, what advice would you give them in terms of how to get there?
Biggest advice is I probably can't give them anything they haven't already heard, but I will emphasize a few things. Practice 100 yards and in way more than you do 100 yards and out. So wedges, bunker shots, chip, pitches, putting. Practice putting even more than the rest of the stuff than you can imagine. The best putters I ever met, they made up a lot of deficits by making putts, even not the best ball strikers. One that comes to mind is I grew up with JT Poston. He's out of Hickory. And, you know, when you watch him play around the golf, I always thought he shot like 71 or 2 and he'd shoot 65. And that's because he was a great putter. And the other thing is play golf for endurance. You know, really take care of your body, stretch, because I can tell you now, I've probably, if I had to guess, I've hit 4 or 5, 600,000 golf balls in my lifetime. If I had to guess, maybe more. And I can feel it in my back, you know, so longevity, you know, is very big deal in golf. Drop every distraction on planet Earth. Literally, you cannot be distracted and be the best in the world at anything. Yeah. Don't have any bad habits like drinking or drugs or alcohol, because under the pressure you go under, and the amount of travel you do, you will be exposed. My also advice is, you know, be the most confident person you could ever imagine being on the golf course and off the golf course. I've met some people that were the best talents I've ever seen in my life. Literally could shoot 63 anywhere, but they didn't have a lot of self-belief. And, you know, they could shoot 63 playing me in a money game, but they couldn't break 70 in a tournament. They just didn't believe they were one of the best. And so really goes back to confidence and believing in yourself at the highest level. I don't know too many people who said, I think I'm good enough to be top 1,500 in the world. Okay, maybe. And actually became top 10 in the world. Everyone who's top 10 in the world said, I could be number 1 in the world. And so I recommend trying to be number 1 player in the world.
So how does one person, or how does a person actually gain that confidence or that self-belief that you can do it, you can make it happen? Like what are some keys to that self-confidence?
A lot of things that I did, and I truly believed I could have been the best golfer in the world. That's the truth. You can ask anybody I hung out with. I thought I was going to be the best. When you practice harder than everyone else, you feel like you're the best. When you show up early and leave late, you feel like you're the best. When you just do 1% better every single day in every single way, you feel like you're the best. One more rep, one more bucket of balls, one more 9 holes, one more putting contest, make one more batch of 100 3-footers before you leave, even though you're dying to get to dinner or whatever. Play in tournaments and win golf tournaments. Win. And when you win, I always called it celebrate the dub. So like when I was young, I just expected it. And then as I got older and I won college tournaments and mini tour events, I celebrated like I won the Masters. And that built a ton of confidence because I got that feeling that I won at junior golf, I won at college golf, I won at pro golf, I won at amateur level. I made it deep in the match play at a USAM. Like I didn't win, but I had to play great to do that. I celebrated all those things. And when you celebrate those wins, then the next time you get to a higher level, somewhere down the stretch when you're within a shot or two of the lead, your subconscious is going to kick in and you're going to go, I've been here before and I executed. It doesn't matter if it's the Masters or the Mecklenburg County Open. Like I've been here, I felt this, I got this. And so I would say the biggest thing is being that 1% better, that one extra rep, but also you got to play the win. I mean, I play tournaments almost every weekend and then matches during the week. You know, tournaments were second nature. Where now when I go tee it up in a USAM qualifier, I'm shaking my boots. There's no reps. Yeah. My brain is not comfortable. My body's not comfortable. I'm not confident that I am, I'm 50 pounds more than I was. I'm not flexible anymore. And I haven't hit a bucket of balls in 2 years. I shouldn't go out here and shoot 65, and that's the problem, right? Be prepared, be mentally prepared. And it's the reps. It's the reps. And it helps when you win. It really helps.
Yeah. How did you decide that you wanted to be the best at golf or anything else? Like some people struggle with confidence and self-belief. And, And as far as thinking, like wanting to be something best, that's probably like far away from their mind. Like how for yourself, how did you figure out that yes, you can be the best and you want to be the best at something?
For me, had a little bit to do with my childhood. In the beginning, I had such a chip on my shoulder that having such a bad childhood and people treat me so bad, that once I started seeing a little success and people said, "Hey, you're really good and good job," I love that feeling so much of being accepted and being liked and being congratulated that I wanted more. Right? So for me, a little bit at a young age, it was that. But then as I got older, it genuinely was the love for the game. I loved golf more than anything else on earth. And I thought, if I love it this much and I'm devoting my entire life to it, what good is it to say I want to be the 200th best college golfer in the world? Why would I say that?
Yeah.
Why am I a human being literally every waking moment thinking about golf, working on golf, working to make money to play golf? Why would I not want to be the best? But that's how my brain is wired. Like if I'm going to devote time and prioritize it, I feel like I want to be the best. Okay. Sure. I think I have some competitive nature. Yes. I still like winning in horse and basketball. I don't let my kids win in tic-tac-toe. Okay. I'm competitive, and I'm sure that goes deeper than I can explain. But the bigger thing is that why invest so much time and effort to not be the best you can be?
Yeah.
And I take that into business. I take that into being a husband. I have one wife. I don't have 7. I have 1. I'm going to be the best. I have 5 children. I don't have 1 million. I'm going to be the best at those 5 kids. I'm all in. So if I'm all in, why would I want to be the best?
Yeah.
And then I took the same mentality in the commercial real estate brokerage. I wanted to be the best commercial broker in Charlotte, North Carolina. That was number 1. And we have CRCBR, and that's kind of like our award ceremony. And my 4th year in, I got the top award. And I know I didn't make the most money that year, but I was top 15 commercial brokers out of 1,000 brokers in Charlotte, North Carolina, commercial brokers in North Carolina. And I could do some math. I was probably like 7th or 8th place. And I was like, that feels pretty good.
Yeah.
Because I could compare and there was like a ranking and et cetera. And I just viciously just wanted to be the best. But for me, it's like life is short. If I'm going to focus this much and devote this much time, energy, effort, money, mental capacity, my health and all that, I just don't really see a point of being lackadaisical about my results.
Yeah. No, the reason why I'm asking is that I feel there's a lot of maybe it's this generation today, a lot of kids or young adults, they grow up with their needs met, so they didn't have a lack of anything, like food or whatever necessities are. And I feel like those young adults or those people then have a hard time to go all in or to figure something out for themselves, because they can do anything, but it's like this dilemma or issue with choice. Like if you can choose 1,000 things, you just end up not choosing anything. So like they had everything they needed, so now they're like, well, what do? I could do this, I could do that, but I don't know if I should do this or that. So I feel like there's a whole generation of people that are just kind of not really driven to do much or to accomplish something great. Like, what would be a good advice for those kind of people?
Boy, that's such a tough question. And I really don't want to get canceled. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, I don't know the answer to someone who is 18, 20 and older. I don't know the answer to that. Okay, I'm not saying lost cause, but you don't have your parents saying doing this and doing that, and there are some hopefully tough life things coming at you. Maybe rent, car payment. I don't know. Maybe not. I can really speak to what I believe at a younger age, 5, 10, 15 years old, 16 years old, and I must say and I don't know if I'm doing it right, but here's what I think. Um, my wife and I, our children are very blessed, very, very freaking blessed. And I took them over Christmas to the Section 8 housing development that I grew up in for several years of my childhood. And pretty sure there were drug deals on the corners, both corners. There was boarded up windows everywhere. There was kids literally fighting at the playground like I used to every day. And everything's dilapidated, falling apart. The cars are broke down and junky. And I said, that's the unit that I spent years of my childhood in. And all they said was, "You grew up with a cactus in your front yard?" And I was
they
like,
missed the whole point.
"Oh, I'm doing something wrong. I think I messed up." And I laughed and I said, "Listen, yes, the cactus was there, but let me explain what's going on here."
Yeah.
And that really, and before that, and I'll get to the point, but even before that, but then especially that day, it made me realize that you have to create responsibility, boundaries, and discipline at a young age. So our kids, they have chores. Okay, it's not backbreaking work. It doesn't take all their day, and it's like feed the dogs, feed the chickens, feed the outside cats, vacuum the floor, help with some dishes, put the clothes in the laundry room, empty the trash. It's not hard stuff at all. And if they don't do it, they get in trouble. A toy gets taken away, or they don't get to go outside and play when the other kids do, or something, right? And that in itself at a young age, I can see that my kids already are like, okay, I'm earning something. Okay, like I get it. So also, all of them, I started quote unquote investment accounts for them early on. Mm-hmm. And they would get money for birthdays or Christmas and stuff. And I would look at them and say, now you can take that $20. You can go buy a toy right now. You just got, Lord knows how much money worth of toys for your birthday and Christmas. Or you can invest that money. And by the time you turn 18, you might be able to buy your own car.
Yeah.
My kids invest every penny they get. Invest. And that's the way we teach them about money. And I remember one of the first times we went to Disney, they went and they really wanted this toy. And I said, listen, y'all are toyed out. This trip is not about toys. This trip's about riding rides, having a good time. And, well, can I pull some money out of my investment account? And I said, well, here's the implications if you do. Mm-hmm. And they never would. They'd never take your money out, quote unquote. And, of course, I would let them. And so now it makes them think like, what are the implications of just swiping that card or paying that cash at a young age, mm-hmm. right? It's not major life-hauling things. It's just small things to give them a little responsibility, make them think about, the real cost of money, et cetera. And my two oldest are on this kick lately, and they go, because we've been watching a lot of Shark Tank. They love it. Mm-hmm. How much is blank real estate worth? How much is Biz Exchange worth? How much investment commercial real estate do we have? And I'm like, I am not talking to y'all about that whatsoever. But they're like, well, they just got investment for $2 million. Could we do that? It's just little things that accumulate into a conscious effort. And then I believe getting a job at the day I turned 15, literally the day I turned 15, went to Sanford, the city of Sanford, got a job working at the golf course. That was huge. Mm-hmm. And so I have our children help out in the business here and there, not once a week, not barely once a month. They help with a little bit of marketing, or I show them how to do this on the computer, and I say they're working. Yeah. And they feel like they're working, It's really just small things. But beyond 20 years old, I don't have a great answer other than life just really has to slap them in the face. And if the parents are still paying for the rent, the car, the nightlife, the alcohol, okay, Lord knows what else, the trips to Myrtle Beach every weekend, then I hope at some point the parent dials back a little and teaches them what things really cost. Yeah. Other than that, I think life just has to slap you in the face, man.
So maybe it's like you said, where life slaps the person in the face. So like if life didn't slap them when they were really young, and they had it decent where they had all their needs met, and then they get into their 20s, and then I think they move out and realize what life is like. So then they have to use their 20s to really learn what life is like, and then afterwards they can start aiming towards something.
Yeah, and it's getting later and later. Suppose and I'm just talking about reports and what I see. You know, my wife and I had 5 children by the time that we were 32 and 31. That's unheard of. Okay, so I can tell that that's not common anymore. Where my grandparents, that was very common,
Yeah.
right? I've met a lot of people who they don't really have their true career until they're 25, 30 years old now. Where for me, I was like, I'm literally trying to be like a professional golfer or the best commercial real estate broker I could be in my early 20s. A lot of people aren't getting married till older now. It seems.
Yeah.
I just think that it's it's just part of the wave of the way the world moves, for better or for worse. I don't know. But I will say that even though I'm 34, people do look at me funny. I've been married for almost 10 years and I have 5 children, and it's like people just think that's odd nowadays. So for better or for worse, I don't know if it is, but I just hope that people get driven and focused and build confidence and like want to be the best they can be, because life is really short. Like I would feel very lucky if I had another 34 years on earth. I'm not counting my chickens, and so I want to make the best of it, and I hope everyone else does too.
Yeah. And I wonder also, like, social media and devices, having devices, if that's like having a greater negative effect on younger, teenagers and young adults, where they're looking at these influencers and whoever else, and at least on social media, the influencers show how great of a life they have. And then now these young adults are like looking at it and like, well, I don't have that or this. And to do that, it seems like there's so much work to get to that. And like they get into this potentially analysis paralysis phase where they don't know what to do. Then they're not doing anything, but they want something somebody else has. And they get in this more of a almost like depression, like
Yeah.
What is this life all about if I can't have this or that?
Yeah, it's weird because I know a lot of people who, they didn't invest in GameStop or AMC or Bitcoin, and there's a very few amount of young people on planet Earth who did. And now they look at them and go, they became millionaires overnight. Why can't I?
Right.
Lord, that's just called luck. That's playing the lottery.
Yeah.
And I gotta be careful. I don't want to get canceled. But and that's a joke. But it's true. Would you rather be wealthy quick or wealthy for sure?
Mm-hmm.
And I'd rather be wealthy for sure. Put in the work, put in the effort, get 1% better every day, and try to build a legacy. Eventually I do think people who don't want to do that, they're trying to get rich overnight or, in some very unorthodox way, would probably say that, I'm a buzzkill and that I'm not creative enough and I'm not thinking outside the box enough. But I will actually say that they are very wrong. I went after some things that I thought would make me very wealthy overnight. I bought a 6x6 vehicle called an Apocalypse and blasted all over the internet to get famous, and got 7 million views on a couple of TikTok videos. Okay, I've done some weird stuff to get views. Okay, and to get fame and to get TikTok famous. And I bought Bitcoin at this, and I bought this stock at that. And I'll be honest with you, none of it led to the wealth that the consistent 1% doing better 1% for even 5 years gave my family and I. The financial freedom we have and had over 5 years of consistent and predictable growth even if all those millions of views on social media, all this and all that, it did not lead to actual wealth.
Mm-hmm.
It led to thousands of comments of people saying how rude I was or how crazy I was because I had this car, and how I called someone a Karen. Now, she was, okay, I don't want to get canceled, but anyway, I almost got canceled with that. But I've been there and done it a little bit, and I chased it. I posted every day for months and years, you know. I didn't do OnlyFans, so maybe that was my problem. But you know, I'll tell people I've been there and done it. And once again, to actually get 1 million followers and this and that, most people who have done it, they'll say, I don't know if I could do it again. It really is timing, it's luck, it is consistency. But even the people I know who have 1 million or 2 followers, they don't have the wealth and the financial freedom and the freedom that my family has from just 5 years of consistent action. So I'd say that they're probably envying the wrong thing, but you don't learn that lesson until you're 34 years old, you're 50 pounds overweight, and you're not as interesting on social media as you once were.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that came to mind for me was compound interest. So not necessarily applied to financials where it works great, but also to time and doing things, like the discipline to do things over and over. And it seems like it's mundane, but you do it anyway.
Yeah. I think you hit nail on the head. I think it's not about putting in $100 in a bank account and expecting, you know, in 5 years to have $6 million, you know, because of 2% interest on your money annually. No, that's not it. You're right. It is social equity. Mm-hmm. It is sweat equity, and it is time equity. You know, that's really the things that you invest to be successful in anything, really.
Yeah. So you've tried, well, you've done golf, but then after you decided to move on from golf, and did you just like start the companies right away? Did you work somewhere else in between? What was your life like after golf?
Yeah, I got my real estate license July 28th, 2014. And then I had, in North Carolina, you have to hang your license as a provisional broker under a broker in charge for 2 years. Mm-hmm. So I did it. I hung my license with a broker in charge for 2 years. Not my company, not my wife's company. You know, all during that time, she was an entrepreneur. She was running her high-end hair salon. She was running her boutique brick and mortar and online. Mm-hmm. And so as soon as I was nearing my end of my 2 years, we knew that we would, you know, open our own commercial real estate brokerage firm. So I went and took the broker in charge class and became a broker in charge. November 1st of 2016, my wife and I opened Blank Commercial Real Estate here in Charlotte. So no, it was 2 years of being under someone and training. I frankly didn't get a lot of training, but I had to be under someone for 2 years. Mm-hmm. And so no, it didn't start right away, but was very encouraging for my wife's business. You know, hey, you're doing great. How can I help? Hanging door hangers, you know, going there on weekends and late afternoons and trying to get people in the store. I mean, just loved it. You know,
How did you decide that you wanted to be in commercial real estate?
It chose me.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I mean,
How so?
Yeah, I was, you know, I got off the plane from Puerto Rico and for the Latino tour and didn't have any more money. You know, the girlfriend I was dating at the time said, hey, my grandma's going to call you. She hired me. And then I met the commercial broker. He said, as hard as you work around here cleaning toilets and mopping floors and kicking people out and renting spaces and collecting the rent, if you became a commercial real estate broker with my firm, you'd make a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And I said, that sounds great because I'm about to break up with the girlfriend and the grandmother's going to fire me and I need a career.
Yeah.
And so I owe a lot to that guy for that, taking a chance and saying, hey, if you do this, you make a lot of money. And I'm proud to say my second full year being a commercial real estate broker, I done as much in volume in sales and leases as any of his best years in his 10-year career to that point. So I was very proud of that and very competitive. My goal was to beat him. And so then it made sense. Like my wife is, incredible person, entrepreneur, and she goes, "Hey, let's just run our own show and start a firm." And, I never started a business. So I said, great, now I get to keep 100% of my commission. We're going to take it to the moon. And she goes, how you going to run a big business if it's just you, man? And I was like, yeah, I didn't think about that. So then started going and then started creating a social media presence on LinkedIn mostly, where brokers were contacting me almost weekly to join the firm. And within a few years, we had 60 commercial brokers in 3 markets. And I'm proud to say that I never recruited one of those brokers. Not one. They all came to me and set up meetings. Just because I would post our success, I'd post the fun we're having. We go to industrial buildings, and I'd take a putter and put a golf ball clear across 200,000 square foot industrial building with literally all clear span with no support beams, and try to make it into a bucket. Just did funny, silly stuff and had a blast doing it. Nice. And but that's how it happened. It was really my wife. And then I just say I'm a great implementer. My wife is really the brains of the operations.
So she's like the entrepreneur and you're the intrapreneur.
Yeah. I mean, every week we talk about what's next, what should we focus on, how's this going, how's that going, and then we come up with game plans, and then I come back a week or two later and say, here's what happened. What do you think? Yeah, nice. I do very well with that because I don't know if I have something like ADD, ADHD. I'm not real sure, but if I don't have some direction, I'll end up starting a airplane manufacturing company next week. Okay, because it sounds awesome. So I need some direction.
Well, speaking of a different company, so you had the Biz Exchange, right?
Yes.
So how did that get started?
Yeah. So let's see. 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, started selling off commercial real estate that my wife and I had bought with and without partners over the previous 3 years. Because the market was hot, we were getting offers left and right, interest rates were low, amazing time to be a seller. Yeah. And so we started selling some of this stuff off. A couple of industrial buildings, a couple of office buildings, smaller stuff. All of it was like $3 million and less. Okay. But we always owned at least 50% of it or 100%. So I was like, I love these deals because of big ownership in it. Not huge deals, but for someone who has big equity stake, big deals for me, right? And did very well with those deals. Ended up not 1031ing, but into one of those deals, which is a tax-free exchange. And so paid Uncle Sam and had a bunch of cash. And, sitting around talking to my wife, talking to friends, talking to people, saying, what's next? Commercial real estate, love it, still in it wide open, still love mentoring, but not the most scalable business on planet Earth, to be frank. Being a commercial real estate broker and investor is very hard to scale. To be a JLL CBRE, you better go raise $50-100 million to go buy an Amazon warehouse because you want to own Amazon warehouse portfolio. You better go raise about $200 million. Just was feeling like not the path I wanted to go. And so after talking with friends and brainstorming, what's the most scalable thing on planet Earth? Tech, SaaS.
Software, yeah.
Software as a service, baby. And, it's hot. Everyone's talking about Slack and everyone's talking about this and Salesforce, and it's just boom, boom, boom. And everyone, their brother is now, coding and starting this and that. And I'm just like, oh, this sounds awesome. And so I actually co-founded Biz Exchange with a friend. And we came up with the initial thoughts together and everything. And then I invested money. He was putting in sweat equity. And I'd say 6 or 7 months into it, he really had to take a step back. And so I bought him out. Okay. So had a co-founder, great fun starting with him. We're still good friends and everything's cool. But now, my wife and I are the only founders in the company right now. And just was sitting there thinking, man, LinkedIn has a lot of bots and trolls, and I'm not dogging any of these companies, actually. Even if it sounds like I am, I'm not. They're incredible. Yeah. What Reid Hoffman has done, and any of these, blitzscaling groups and it's just incredible. Elon Musk, PayPal. I'm not dogging any of these, but there are certain things about every software company that was getting under my skin.
Mm-hmm.
Certain things, bots and trolls and fake accounts drive me crazy. I can't stand it.
Yeah.
I just think it's crazy. Paying for advertisement on these platforms when I know a percentage of all accounts are fake, bots, and trolls bothers me.
Yeah.
Because it's not real people seeing your product. Okay? That bothers me. Lack of communication internally with companies, and Slack comes in and, saves the day, but I started meeting with people every week, large companies, 100 employees, 200, 2,000, 14,000, 90,000 employees. And I'm like, what do you think of Slack? What do you think of Microsoft Teams, Telegram, email, text message? How do you communicate? And it just seems like there's a gap in the market.
Mm-hmm.
There's something there where there's a lot of disconnectivity. Not everyone uses something that they really like. It's just kind of they use it because it's there. They use Teams because they have a Microsoft package, but they don't like this and that. So I just took several months and gathered feedback from companies, CIOs, CEOs, COOs, just said, how do you communicate internally? What do you like? What don't you like? And this company is really turning into a platform for internal communications amongst companies with what we call a major networking. Mm-hmm. So C-suites will network with C-suites from other corporations and that have their subscription to BizExchange, sales with sales, etc. And then we have the BizExchange platform, which is where everyone goes and shares referrals, does masterminds, talks about their life journey like we are now, speaker series, sharing referrals and sharing best practices. And so I like to say that, we're a people company that uses tech to be able to actually help people.
What is that interaction like in terms of the technology? Is it like a chat room type of a thing, or what is it like?
So right now it's just a website. We are under app development for Android and Apple right now, but that's going to take another 5 or 6 months. So right now it's the website. The website has Discord, chat, private chat, open chat. It has Zoom feature. It has lots of different areas that people can chat and talk about the topics they want to talk about: mind and body, real estate, crypto, investments, you name it, tons of stuff. And then chats within each of those sectors. And then there's a Zoom feature we all jump on and use to share our stories, network, mastermind, etc.
Is it like you have a door where people get in, like registration, payment, and so on, and then it's like open, everything else is open inside of that to everybody? How does that work?
For the BizExchange part, the platform, yes. But our enterprise model, no.
Okay.
The enterprise model is just for companies to use internally. So they log in, they go into a container, imagine going down a portal into your own digital room or building, and that's what you get as an enterprise. When you're an individual signing up for a BizExchange platform, then yes, you are in with everyone else. And there's a directory. And I'm proud to say that every single person in that directory is a real bona fide human being, which is one of our major goals and focuses.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds really really interesting. Is it only a paid model, or is it like a freemium where you can get in free with limited features? Or
right?
Yeah.
We always give people a code for 30 days free, BizExTrial, BIZEXTRIAL, to check it out, see if you get any referrals, see who you connect with, check out the directory. Heck, you can rob our directory and just run. I mean, that happens, right? And then if you like the product and you want to stick around, then the next month and ongoing is $99 a month. And so that's our model right now. It definitely could change. Tech is changing a lot. Pricing models are changing a lot, things. But, everyone who signs up right now, I'm doing my best that in the first 30 days, I get them a real referral with someone who is a good fit or a great referral partner. And I do that manually right now. But as we grow, we will have something called community managers, and their job is to collaborate or is to encourage virtual coffees, virtual happy hours, actual coffees, actual happy hours, yoga, virtual yoga, mind and body, and we'll connect dots between two good referral partners in the company every single day, and that's when magic happens.
What in terms of today? I don't know if you can or want to say it or not, but what's your membership like in terms of numbers?
Yeah. Right now, we're currently at about 150 individual members. And, we've signed up almost a little over 200. We've had some attrition, which is expected in SaaS.
Yeah.
And then on the enterprise side, we don't even have the app ready, but we already have 2 contract signs with 2 companies to put their companies on BizExchange the day we launch. And I'm working on many, many, many more. My goal is to have thousands of users for the enterprise model before we even launch. I don't know if it's possible, but I'm going to do my best.
Yeah.
Because I know we're solving a real problem when it comes to internal collaboration and communication within companies. So no, humble beginnings. We launched less than a year ago. Our first year top line revenue in our very first year was just under $100,000, and we reinvested every penny. And that money was not about making a profit or anything. It was about beta to see how much people will pay and for what.
Yeah.
And the truth is, when you provide someone ample value, they will pay money for anything. But you got to provide the value.
Do you market it currently, or how do you get the word out about the app?
That's
website?
a great story. We started off dropping like 30, 40 grand in marketing day one. Website launches, and it's buggy, and it's got problems, and we weren't that proud of it. But boy, we were pumping some money behind it. Instagram, TikTok, this and that, LinkedIn, and boy, we got no one to sign up. 0. And realized no one knows who we are. No one knows me. No one knows, my co-founder at the time. No one knows what BizExchange is. It was hard to understand from the first page of the website. And so we stopped the Hey guys, love the marketing company. You are great. You did exactly what we asked. But we got to take a step back. And we did. And we said, you know what? We're just going to use our network. We need to build a product people want. We don't need to shove this down their throats. We made a big mistake. And we need to go to people and say, what would you like? What would be good for you? What would iteration 2 of the website look like if you had to pay $99 a month? Blah, blah, blah. And we took a major step back, and one person at a time built a tribe. And now we have a tribe. And that is what led to the enterprise model. If we just kept spending 10, 20, 30,000 a month on paid ads to something that had no traction, or if we didn't even know people wanted, it literally was just like throwing money off the side of a bridge. So lesson learned. I'm not perfect. That was a big mistake, but luckily learned quickly, stopped it, and pivoted. And so I just like to say now we have our tribe, and they're amazing people that believe and love the BizExchange brand and what value it brings them.
So also, other than the marketing piece, building a software SaaS type of service, what did you learn that you did not anticipate ahead of time?
Pretty much everything that's happened in the past 12 months. I don't have a technical background at all. I was a commercial real estate broker who for 5 years didn't own a laptop. Okay. I was not a tech guy. And so I've had to learn a lot. There's so many things. How to acquire your first customers, what not to spend money on, what to spend money on. Make sure the product is something people want. Make sure you're delivering more value than what, we just thought, man, we throw this baby up, throw this website up, people are going to be signing up by the thousands. No. Listen to your customers, care about your customers, create your tribe, pivot when things are not looking good, or if you're not excited about it, stop it. Find something you're excited about. Find a technical fractional CTO or an actual CTO or a co-founder who's technical, because you're going to need it. Find a good development team if you're not a coder. Have a good attorney. I underestimated everything. It was way harder than I expected, and still is. The only thing that has came really natural to me is fundraising. But I've always been good at finding money for real estate deals because people, they believe in me.
Yeah.
And so we're in the middle of our friends and family round right now, and we're doing really well. And praise the Lord, that is the only thing that has, like, I went to this morning at 7 a.m. I went to something at the Lending Tree building, and it was about venture capital and this and that. And I've had some great conversations with some great people, and they were like, yeah, how many people did you talk to raise the money you have? And I was like, maybe 4 people. And there's what? I was like, yeah, maybe 4 people, like in passing. And they were like, yeah, most people don't raise money that easy. So I'm proud of that. But then on the back end of that, it's a very capital intensive business. Very. Commercial real estate brokerage, I could have low overhead and make a ton of money, but it wasn't scalable. And so, I mean, there's probably at least 100 other things. I wish I would have been on YouTube watching Y Combinator videos a lot earlier. I've learned so much. But no, those are probably the biggest things. But they really are most of the things I've learned is I didn't expect it.
Is your team in US here, or is it in India, like the dev team?
Yep, the dev team, they're based out of Charlotte.
Okay.
They have several developers and coders in America, but they also have a couple that I've met in Spain, Russia, Ukraine.
Okay.
So they've got some remote work, and then they have some local. And I'm big about looking someone in the eye and shaking their hand, especially when I'm about to hand them $300,000. And so that made this all go a lot better.
Yeah. So are they like a separate agency basically that's doing the development for you? Or
They are third party.
Okay.
Now I know that as soon as the app is delivered or shortly after, we're going to have to get a CTO that is full time. And I'm prepared for that. I'm raising funds for that. But until then, it is all third party. And our fractional CTO right now knows them very well. They built several of his apps. He is helping with every step of the way, and I cannot thank him enough. He is a godsend. He's an amazing person. Man, I love him like a brother. And he is helping, my wife and I and the Biz Exchange team so much. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah. When it comes to fundraising, you mentioned you went through friends and family. What are the different levels? And then give a little bit of detail on what it is. Like when friends and family are investing, what are they expecting back out of it versus going to like angel or other investors?
Yeah. We could go deep into this. And I'm not even someone who's done any other rounds other than friends and family, but I can tell you what I've heard and learned. Yeah, friends and family, they're doing it because they love you and they like you, not because they think they're going to get rich. Like, that's the truth.
Yeah.
Which is probably why it was a little easier for me to make a few phone calls and people say, because they like me, they trust me, they've known me for years, they ran other successful companies and successful investments in commercial real estate. So why wouldn't he go and do this, and do well? No guarantee, obviously.
Yeah.
Like 90% of SaaS companies fail, like real quick. So these people do it because they like me, they trust me, and there's some belief there that we are solving a problem. Very cool. Next, angel. A little tougher to convince. They're not your best friends. You didn't play golf with them.
But even before getting into the angel investments, like what are the friends and family just giving up their money hoping to get something back, or they're just hoping to get their money back?
Oh, no. I mean, of course they hope to make a return, right?
Okay. So what's that return like? Or do you kind of negotiate or figure that out?
So there is no pref equity. It's not like I guarantee you 8% return over the next 10 years. You can do that with real estate. You can't do that with SaaS. Basically, let's use round numbers. Let's say you need to raise $1 million. Let's say you need to raise $1 million. Okay. in cash, and you're telling everyone that your company's worth $4 million. Okay. You raise $1 million of equity with one person or 100 people, you are giving away 25% of your company.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now whoever invests in the friends and family, and these are examples.
Yeah.
Let's just say one person puts $1 million in, and they own 25% company and you own 75%. Most investors at friends and family, they're going to have a cap. They're going to have a cap on your a cap of valuation. So let's say you put a cap of valuation on it at $4 million. Okay. That means that you can go raise $100 million at $1 billion valuation. Their 25% is still going to be worth 25%. Okay. They're not going to get diluted to death because they locked in that or whatever. We use something called a SAFE agreement, a simple agreement for future equity.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have, caps on valuation for your investors so that they don't get diluted too bad and, they keep owning a good chunk of the company because they believed in you early or whatever reason you wanted to do. Or you do discounts of future rounds. So next is pre-seed or seed round. Mm-hmm. And let's say you go raise money at a $20 million valuation, then your agreement will say, you're going to get diluted, but guess what? They're buying in at $20 million. I'm giving you a 20% discount. So your stock actually becomes real stock at $16 million. So that means you get 20% more equity than they did mm-hmm. because you came in early and believed in me. It's very confusing. There's lots of different ways you can skin the cat. Mm-hmm. Okay. You can sell straight up equity of your company and you have to pay them a dividend check every month from profits. There's lots of ways. We're going the route of SAFE so that they don't get no investors get dividends. They only get paid when there's an exit. Mm-hmm. And that is very common in software, is that no one's getting paid until there's an exit. Okay. And people understand that. And so the goal for those investors, friends and family, seed, whatever, is to own as much equity as possible for as long as possible. So when there's an exit, you make more money. Mm-hmm. Okay. So you invest $1 million and it's a $4 million cap, and then you sell that company for $30 million. Okay. And they didn't get diluted in round 2 or 3 or 4. Okay. Because they had that cap on their valuation. They get 25% mm-hmm. of what it sells for. It's not bad, right? You invest $1 million and now you just made $7.5 million. You made a $6.5 million profit. Not bad. I mean, it could happen. It might not. It could be Slack and sell for $21 billion. It could be the 90% of SaaS, the companies that go to zero. It's a huge risk. Yeah. But most software companies or most SaaS, et cetera, they don't promise dividends. They don't promise returns. They don't give 8% returns yearly. That's for loans. And sure, some people do convertible notes. Okay, where it's a loan and you're literally getting interest, and then at a certain round of funding or an exit, it converts to stock, and then boom, you got equity in the company. Mm-hmm. Convertible note, a loan that's converted into equity. There's lots of ways to skin this cat, but the way we're going is SAFE agreement, simple agreement for future equity, no dividends, and when we make an exit, you make money, and that right there will make you or anyone very motivated, because you just took $1 million from somebody. You might want to literally make this company as valuable as possible so you don't lose their money, and then not counting your own time and money and effort, etc.
Yeah. So like the second round or the next round, let's say you were going towards angel investments or investors. So if you had friends and family and they already have 25% of the company and you go to angels, what do they want everything, right? Like they want the rest of the company.
Yeah, and that's that vicious cycle that you have to be careful not to give away too much of your company in each round, mm-hmm. or then by literally Series A or even seed, you might own 10% of your company, and then you're not motivated.
Right.
You're like, I only own 10% of my baby. Yeah. And by the way, I'm in the thick of this. I'm not an expert on it. Okay.
Yeah.
But I have a great advisement from my CTO who has exited out of companies like this, raised funds, blah, blah, blah. And I'm taking his advice the best I can. And even I feel like I'm giving away a little too much equity in this friends and family. But, his advice was, if you feel like you're giving away a little too much in friends and family, which a little too much is typically for friends and family over 12, 15%. If you feel like you're giving away a little too much in friends and family, and you're not raising enough money for a long runway, then you have to create so much value in your company that you're skipping pre-seed and going straight to seed. And that's a lot of pressure. But of course, I'm a sales founder. So I love that. I'm not a tech founder. I would probably hate it if I was a tech founder. I'm a sales founder. And so I know what that means. That means that I have to go out and create a company that has a valuation of $12 to $15 million before I go raise more funds. And I believe I can do that, and I will. So if you give away too much of your company too fast, you either have to skip around or your sales have to be off the charts so that you get higher and higher valuations with each round much faster. It really is a balancing beam.
What are those rounds? So friends and family, is angel investment next, or
it really, angel is in the same category as friends and friends. Yeah, okay. It really is. It's just, do you know them or not, basically. Then it's pre-seed, and then it's seed, and then it's Series A, B, and C. Those are the rounds.
Okay.
And by the way, there's so many people on planet Earth you could be asking this and probably get more experience answer. This is me from my mentors and from Y Combinator, just being a sponge. But anyway, in friends and family, usually like $2, $3, $4 million valuation max. Pre-seed, you're like 7, 8, 9 million. Seed, you're like 12, 15 million. Series A, 20, 25 million. B, 50 million up. C is crazy, 100, 200 million and up. Okay. That's a ballpark.
Yeah.
That's a ballpark. I could be a little off. I'm sure I am. But that's ballpark for values for each round.
Yeah.
From what I understand.
So you've been, I feel like you're a great connector. Like you network well, it seems, and you have a lot of people that you know. In terms of different types of companies, like you have SaaS companies, and then you have brick and mortar companies. You have contractor, like what I do, type of companies. Which ones do you feel that the best way to scale it is kind of by your own bootstraps versus getting out there and getting investors?
Right. Whew, that's a good one, and I'm in the middle of that too, and have been. Okay, so to build an app that's $300,000. I've used all of my wife and I's own funds to this point, and it's been almost $300,000 to this point. Okay, if we keep using our own funds for the next 12 months and we build this app and we hire people on run rate, before we become profitable, we're going to go bankrupt. So that answers a little question right there, right?
Yeah.
Is if you know that your run rate over the next 12 months is literally $50,000 a month, and you don't have $50,000 a month right now, and you're not guaranteed, and you don't have any contracts guaranteeing paying you $50,000 the month that you launch your app, you better go raise some money. It really is a math equation. It really is. Or it's also a question of speed. That's also like the big thing everyone talks about is speed. Now, do you want this to be a lifestyle business and you actually become profitable, in 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and the first year that you're profitable, you make a profit of 20 grand and then 50, then 100 and 150, and 8 years in, you're making $200,000 on a year on your SaaS company? That's a lifestyle business. 100%. Probably no one's going to invest in that. Okay? Or do you want to go raise funds and give away part of your company so that you can add major gasoline to your fire? That's really what it is. Money doesn't solve problems in SaaS or construction or commercial real estate. None of that. Are you delivering a great product? Is it great customer service? Is it something people actually want and want to pay for?
Yeah.
That's the real answer. Money doesn't solve that crap, you know? But if you do have product market fit and you do have good service and you have something people want to pay for, in theory, when you throw gasoline on that fire, the cash on the business, it's going to go boom. It's going to blow up and do amazing things and flourish, and maybe you IPO for $1 billion and sell off into a sunset. So question is, you know, how fast you want to move? How far can you go with your own money? And is this $1 billion idea? Is it 100 million? Is it 1 million? Or is it a lifestyle business?
Yeah.
To me, that's the questions.
Yeah. Going back to when you were a golfer. I mean, you're still a golfer. But when you were in it more, and you mentioned working out and so on, what kind of gyms did you like working out in?
Yeah, I strictly only did yoga and Insanity and P90X. Strictly. I didn't lift. Lifting is not great for your golf swing. I don't care what anyone says. If you have a huge, you know, pectoral muscle, a huge chest, you do not rotate very well. Trust me. You need to be flexible. You need to be resilient. You need to be able to carry a golf bag for 72 holes over 4 days. You need to have cardio. So for me, it was running in the mornings. It was yoga. It was P90X Insanity. And I was always only using my own body weight so I would not get injured.
Mm-hmm.
I was never injured other than I had a lower back problem that a chiropractor was able to work out. You know, and then now that I'm older, it tweaks here and there, but it's okay, or I go get adjusted, I'm okay. But like, I never pulled any muscles and nothing. I was never out. So yoga, Insanity, P90X, and cardio.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious. Actually, my my nephew is thinking of opening a gym.
Oh, cool.
And I'm trying to figure out or help him out in terms of kind of just the overall process of what do you need to at least account for? What's the startup cost? What's the running cost and all that kind of stuff?
The nice thing about, you know, yoga, Insanity, and use your own body weight, you just need real estate.
Yeah.
You don't need all the equipment and all that. Not saying they shouldn't, but your cost of entry is definitely lower when it's a yoga studio versus, you know, a world's strongest man lifting gym.
Right. They're actually going in the so it's my cousin and his friend. Sorry, not cousin. My nephew and his friend, and they're going in the direction of strength training and bodybuilding. So they do need like all the weight and all that stuff.
But good, you know, everybody, you know, lifting is like a big buzzword now. You know, it's been around forever. So no, that's cool. I hope they have great success.
Yeah, yeah. So you mentioned you want to be, or you're trying to be, or you are being a great dad, a great husband. What is that like? What is a great husband? What is a great dad?
Yeah. First off, you know, I think a great husband is being loyal, being attentive. Every week I take my wife and I go on date nights still. Every single week. We never miss a week, sometimes 2 a week. So date night, feel like we're dating. You know, this might sound corny, but flirting. You know, being a great husband is flirting. Mm-hmm. No matter, you know, how old we get or how long we've been married or whatever, we need to flirt and make it feel a little spicy because, you know, people can get tired and feel old or whatever, you know, and that's not good usually for marriage. Putting our marriage, I know this, you know, definitely could get some kickback, but my wife and I's marriage does come first. It really does. You know, if we are having a problem or anything, or there's mission critical this or that, even with it about the kids or not, we handle that first, because I mean, we are the engine for our kids. So if my wife and I are good and we're not bickering, arguing, you know, disliking each other, looking, you know, if the grass is greener over there, we're going to be better parents. So our marriage comes first. You know, I always bring her home little surprises, and, you know, even if it's flowers or a candy bar or a book or something I know she likes, just trying to be daily And it's hard. Don't do it every day, but try to be daily thoughtful of what would make her happy, or let her know I'm thinking about her, or that I want to date her. That I don't have to go on a date night once a month to Morton's because that's what, people do in Charlotte, whatever. I don't, just making sure that she feels special, and she does the same for me. Okay. And then on the, and also being teammates. We don't make any major decisions without each other's blessings in any way, shape, or form, in any capacity. Work, financials, how we treat the children, disciplining, school. No decisions are made unless we both agree, or one agrees and one doesn't, but the other one had a much more compelling reason, and that's why we should. Typically, she wins, and happy wife, happy life's a real thing. But she's very smart, so I trust her judgment well. On the kids side, a huge focus is just trying to be, when I'm in the room with them, one-on-one or all of us, just not being on the phone. That is today's big win.
Yeah.
I know that sounds simple, but that's a huge win. You don't have to take your kids to Carowinds every weekend, every day, or buy them, the newest toy that hits the market every single week. They just want you to look them in the eyes, and when they say, "Watch this, Daddy," you actually watch them. To me, being a good father is extremely simple, but difficult to execute because of all the distractions. Every week, I take each of our children one-on-one to do something. It could be a walk in the backyard. It could be dinner. It could be lunch. It could be breakfast. It could be a ride on the side-by-side. It could be to the putting green. It could be to the playground. We do something. Every one of our children, one-on-one, one at a time, we do something. It could be 10 minutes. It could be 10 hours. And I've done that since they've been born too.
Do you dedicate a certain day to each child, or how do you do it?
So I have a rotation. I go oldest to youngest. And so literally yesterday, I took Callie, my oldest, to lunch. Took her to Chick-fil-A, played in the playground, came home. Okay? One-on-one time. Put my phone up, talked to her, we laughed. We were singing music in the car just as loud as we could. It was amazing. And then after work calls and things, I was working remote yesterday, I took Mika, my second oldest, to dinner. Mexican in Walmart. She got a book at Walmart. We had a great time at Mexican. We threw our little paper from our straws at each other, try to hit each other. It was just amazing. And that's all it takes. They feel so special. They always say, "I love you, Dad," and this is amazing. And I'm so glad I got this book, and that's small things. That's not going to Disney World and spending 10 grand on them and making sure that Cinderella hugs them. Just genuinely when you're around them. And sometimes that's impossible. I mean, I got to take this call, be quiet, but trying to make majority of the time about them and what is going on in their lives and what they're feeling and what's happening at school, and et cetera. Anyway, it takes a lot of effort. I do sacrifice my golf game for it, but I'm happy to.
Yeah. What do you feel made you want to be the best dad and husband? Was it because of your childhood, or was it because of other things?
I would say mostly in the beginning it was my childhood. My dad left when I was 3. I haven't seen him since. That's not a good feeling. Never had a stepdad. Not a good feeling. My mom was abusive alcoholic, just beat me to death. To me, it was pretty simple, what not to do.
Yeah.
It's not good to beat your children, and it's not good to leave them when they're 3. So, that's pretty common sense if you ask me, where that happened to me, and I thought, dude, I'm never going to leave my children. I'm never going to leave my wife. I'm never going to beat them, whatever, and it's true. It's just common sense. I don't, As I get older, I realize it's getting more and more less about that and more that I just genuinely love this life I'm living with them. Genuinely love my life with my wife. Genuinely love the time with my kids and my kids. I just think they're all fantastic human beings. and I've been around some bad ones, and so they're worth spending time with and investing in.
Yeah.
So I think it changes as I get older.
Yeah. What do you feel is your driving force? Like what drives you? What motivates you?
Yeah. Um, I am a Christian and I love the Lord, and I think God has really blessed me and put me on earth for a reason, to bless others, even if it is just my wife and kids, So that's a big driving force. Um, a huge driving force is my wife and kids. I mean, when you feel like you are the luckiest person on earth, the most blessed person on earth, you don't want to ruin that. And you want to give them the world.
Hmm.
And not just financially, you want them to have comfort and freedom and abilities to learn and make mistakes and have fun. Um, and so my why really, I mean, big part of my why is my wife and kids. And then a little bit of that, like I got this chip on my shoulder and I want to be the best just because I always feel like I have something to prove. But mostly the other three reasons are much more important.
Hmm. What would you say for your life up to this point? What were some lessons that you've learned that no, I mean, you'd want to share as far as not have somebody else have to go through what you went through?
Yeah, I'd say that be a better listener than you are talker. That's kind of hard to do nowadays because you have to be loud to get anyone to listen
Hmm.
nowadays in any way, shape, or form, be it the way you talk or the car you drive or the way you dress or the way you handle yourself or your beliefs or your political beliefs. You really do mature and grow a lot more when you actually sit back and listen and take in all views before opening your mouth. I certainly am quick to share my opinion.
Hmm.
But as I get older, I notice the more I listen, the more I don't put my foot in my mouth and ruin situations. So I'd say maturity of listening a little more. Um, I'd say that truly the very, very, very short term pleasure is not worth the rest of your life. And whatever that is, good or bad, mostly drugs, alcohol, infidelity, the big ones, stealing, robbing, um, tax evasion.
Hmm.
Those things, those really, they're not worth it. They're just not. Um, and never compromise, uh, you know, the peace that you have worked so hard to gain. Because peace on earth is like peace, like true peace, like being confident, happy, feeling good, feel like you're in a good place. Don't take that for granted, and just don't give it up for anybody.
When you do get into stressful situations or stressful decisions, how do you handle those? Like how do you handle stress in general?
Yeah. So I've never done drugs. I don't drink alcohol often. Let's put it that way. A few times a year, yeah, I like to get drunk and have a good time. But genuinely, a few good times a year, I don't drink socially. I don't have a nightcap. I don't take pills. I don't like medicine. For me, it really is about walking and exercise. Helps a lot.
Hmm.
I am overweight, but I love to walk. I also love food, and coffee. But um, talking things out with my wife, engulfing myself in my children's activity of the moment, and living in their world, being a kid, get down on my hands and knees and, play around with them. Um, Pray, lots of praying. Praying helps me. Hot showers. And then a little guilty pleasure my wife and I both have is that we like to go to malls and go to the massage places and get like quick 20-30 minute neck massage or foot massages. Any chance we get, we do that together. It's a hilarious guilty pleasure. That's a lot of stuff, but I guess my wife and I were just talking about this. A lot of people kill stress with things that only temporarily takes it away,
Hmm.
and it's still there. I would rather try to not forget about it, but alleviate it, and then take care of the stress the next day or the next hour or the next opportunity. But I'm not a big believer in masking stress with drugs or alcohol. I know that drinking alcohol is very common, in the world, and a lot of people cope with things with that. But also, I've lost friends to alcoholism, and I have friends who are literally going through AA right now, because that was their crutch. We all have a crutch, but I'm trying to make mine as healthy as possible. Exercise, hot shower, spending time with my wife, kids, maybe a little neck massage. I'm trying. Those are what I try to find, those ways that hopefully are helping me in some way and my family, and not sending me down a sketchy path.
Yeah. When it comes to continuous learning, what are some things that you do to kind of improve yourself, improve your skills, or improve your knowledge, or whatever it is you're trying to achieve? Like, how do you go about learning new things?
Right. Number one, which I do every day, Audible, and YouTube. Mm-hmm. Every day. I mean, this morning I woke up at 3:45 a.m., got in the car, started driving, and because I was at our place in the mountains, and I listened to 2 hours of Dalton and Michael from Y Combinator talking about startups. Mm-hmm. And the other day I was going on a walk, I had my earpiece in, and I was listening to a book on Audible. That's like every day. Other than that, it genuinely is seeking mentors and advice, going to, like the thing I went to this morning where I learned more about venture capital, I learned about raising equity, trying to put myself in rooms with people that are way smarter than me, which typically isn't hard, and asking them questions and getting to know them and blah, blah, blah. It really is just a constant pursuit of education and mentorship, and being in the right rooms with the right people. That's mm-hmm. what I try to do anyways. I don't like to actually read books.
How do you actually find those rooms? How do you find the people to put yourself into it? Or how do you even get invited into those rooms?
The internet is a powerful, powerful thing. I'm telling you, I literally months ago Googled SAAS conferences across America, and my wife and I are going to go to one in Atlanta next month. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that costs money, but it was worth it. The one this morning, a venture capitalist that I got connected with said, I'm speaking at this event, you should come. Sign up on Eventbrite. It was free. Most of these events I go to are absolutely free. Mm-hmm. You just have to find them. Like if you have a passion for commercial real estate, type in commercial real estate conferences and meetings and meetups and all that in Charlotte, North Carolina. You'll find one a month for the next 6 months. It takes effort. Yeah. And the magic of telling people what you're working on is incredible. I started a SaaS company. I'm not a technical founder. I actually don't know what the heck I'm doing on the tech side. What do you recommend? Dude, I got a million things I could go to. I could go to a conference next week in Austin. I could go to one in Silicon Valley in 2 weeks. I could go to one in Austin, Texas. I could go to one in Atlanta. It's just putting yourself out there and being vulnerable and using the internet at your disposal and then showing up. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you, I did not want to get up at 3:45 this morning. I really didn't. And drive 2 hours and 15 minutes. I really didn't want to. But I did, and I showed up, and I had 2 incredible conversations there, and I learned something from the panel that I would never learned, I don't think, if I wasn't there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so getting out there and connecting with people. And yeah, I mean, definitely the internet has a lot of knowledge and ways to connect us. What would you say is, or in your view, or in your kind of, for you, what are the key ingredients to a meaningful life?
Mm-hmm. For me, it's having a bigger purpose than myself, which is my relationship with Christ. The belief that, if I am a good person and I make good decisions and I accept Christ as my Savior, then I'm going to heaven. That's a big why for me. I do believe I could possibly burn in hell one day. I don't want to. So for me, that's a big deal. And then my wife and children, are just, I just love them so much, and I want the best for them. I don't want them to go through what I went through. And so that's a big part. Helping thousands and millions of people reach their goals financially, or just have somewhere to, as an outlet to talk about, the problems they've had at work, or situations, or, just sharing. Being the best version of me I can be. I don't, maybe I'm not Jeff Bezos, so I'm just going to be the best Clifford I can be, not Jeff, right? Trying to make sure that I'm still making some time for self-care. Get a few massage here and there, go for walks, play a little golf, which I got tons of golf coming up. I'm pumped. Self-care. Mm-hmm. And then one of the biggest ones is leaving a legacy. Here lately, I've been thinking more and more about, what are people going to remember you by when you're gone? Did you leave a good legacy? Are your kids proud of you? Is your wife proud of you? Are your best friends proud of you? Is your grandma proud of you? Or did you leave Earth and they were like, that guy was a scumbag? I don't want that. I mean, those are pretty big picture things, but they really do move me.
Yeah. So speaking of legacy, some people are like, well, when I'm gone, I'm gone. And, 100 years after that, nobody remembers you anyway. So what's the point of leaving a legacy if nobody's going to really remember you anyway? What is your kind of thought on the legacy itself?
Yeah. My biggest thought is that right there, what you just said, and I don't mean to be crude, that's the most selfish thing I could think of when dying. I'm sorry. That's just the way I feel. I am who I am, right? Mostly because my grandmother was a great role model and my grandfather was a great role model. Mm-hmm. Okay. If I just had my mom and dad as role models, I would be just like my brother, drug addict, alcoholic, and not very nice to people. Mm-hmm. Okay. In and out of prison. And I love my brother. I do. But if you don't have good role models, you don't even know what to do. You don't even know how to love someone. You don't even know how to be a good husband or wife, or a good father or mother. You didn't even see it. No. You might get lucky and see it in a movie and think it looks cool, but I doubt it, right? So to me, I want to leave this earth better than I found it, which is very difficult. But the best way I can assure that is that my children have manners and etiquette and common sense. Don't beat people over the head with golf clubs to steal their purse. Okay. They don't rob and steal and embezzle money. That they don't cheat on their spouses nonstop or cheat on this and that. I just want them to leave. I want to leave this earth knowing that my children saw good examples, and that hopefully they treat other people the way they want to be treated. I think that's why that's important to me, frankly.
So when it comes to legacy, because there's different perspectives, right? Some people want to leave a legacy for selfish reasons,
right?
Because they want to be remembered as this big, great personality or person or whatever else, right? Versus what you're describing is the opposite of that. You don't necessarily care about your own image, how people remember you. You just want to have an impact on the people that come after you.
Right. I can't control, by the way, like half, Obama, right? President of the United States, half people hate him, half love him. Like you can't control what people think of you. Right. Donald Trump, a lot of people hate him, love him. He was our president. Yeah. Like, what more famous person is there in America, other than Taylor Swift, is the president of the United States? And half the people hate him and half love him. Right. You can't control what people think of you and when you're dead and gone. And I literally could be the saint of all saints, and they're going to say, that guy's fake. He's fake. I don't like him. Yeah. Cancel, social media, TikTok, you suck, I have no control over that.
Right.
So whatever.
I'm just thinking more from like internal perspective, like from you yourself, your perspective, like what's driving you. You want to leave the legacy for the people that come after you, versus some other person may be like, I want to leave a legacy so people remember that I existed.
Oh, I see.
So like there's one is selfish, the other one is not selfish.
Yeah, like I don't have to be a president of the United States. I don't have to be on Mount Rushmore. Like, no, it is certainly more about, for me, one day I'm having a great time in heaven. Hopefully my wife and kids show up after me, hopefully, and they all go, I'm here with you, I lived a fulfilled life, and I feel like I treated people well, and I did the best I could, and I was the best me I could be. That would literally be the most amazing thing that could ever happen, ever,
Yeah.
in my eyes.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Yeah.
So going back to your businesses, if you want to share a little bit about your businesses, what you want the audience to know more about you or your businesses.
Yeah, thank you. And this has been great. You're a great host. Thank you. Blank Real Estate, we merged and partnered with eXp Commercial. So we have a national platform now to do commercial real estate leasing and sales, industrial, office, retail, vacant land, investment sales, multifamily, you name it. A team and I, we can do it. And I love brokerage, and I love commercial real estate investment. I'm in SIOR. There's only like 3,800 of us in the world. Basically, you got to sell and lease a ton of industrial real estate or office space to become this designation. And so my true passion is industrial and flex. Okay. But our team does it all. And we have a very big focus in the Carolinas, but we also, with eXp Commercial, can branch out and do deals anywhere in the country. And I love my teammates for that. It's awesome. On the Biz Exchange side, we've already talked a lot about. It's a SaaS platform. We want to help a lot of people get connected, get referrals, share their story, communicate better internally within companies, feel like they're not just a number but a name. I want a chance to talk to anybody about how Biz Exchange may or may not solve a problem in their company. That's really what I want. It could be a 2-person company. It could be you're a solopreneur. It could be a 100,000 person company that happens to hear this. And I'd love to talk to you. My name's Clifford. And just kidding. And and just figure out if we can solve some problems and be cost efficient and help everybody that in their needs.
Yeah, that's great. So one last question for you: what does the world need more of today?
I think the world needs a lot more compassion. I think that a lot of people have lost their patience and their love for just human beings, and there's a lot of hate. There's a lot of hurt. There's a lot of judgment. There's a lot of mean things being said between nameless and faceless TikTok and Reddit accounts. I just think the whole world needs to be a little more compassionate, patient, and treat people like they want to be treated on a daily basis, digitally or in person. I just think kindness would go a long ways in this world.
Yeah. Well, Clifford, thank you for joining me here. It was great talking to you, and definitely want to talk to you some more. So
You're an awesome host. Thank you so much for having me.
Yep. Thank you.
All right.